Listen, I need you to hear this with a calm mind, even though what I'm about to say might shake you a little. Because the truth is simple, modern women don't cheat for the reasons you think. And if you've ever felt that sick drop in your stomach, the one that whispers something is wrong, you're not imagining it, you're not dramatic, you're not insecure, you're responding to a psychological pattern that most men never get warned about. And if you stay with me until the end of this video, I'm going to tell you something important that might save you from years of emotional damage. But first, take a breath with me. You're safe here. And if you want more insight like this, make sure you subscribe and like the video because you deserve to understand what's really happening behind her behavior. Now, when men cheat, it's usually physical, impulse, novelty, a moment. But modern women, their cheating begins quietly long before any physical moment happens. It starts in the psychology, in the emotions, in the places you can't see. Many men assume cheating begins with a secret meeting or a hidden text or a late night message. But no, it begins with disconnection. It begins with a woman feeling unseen, not because you failed, but because she allowed herself to become emotionally available to someone else. And here is the part most men never realize. Modern women have more access to emotional attention than ever in human history. One post, one DM, one compliment from a coworker, one guy telling her she's beautiful when she's frustrated with you. Emotional cheating today doesn't take effort. It comes delivered to her. But let me be honest with you as a psychologist. Cheating rarely starts with you. It starts with her unresolved emptiness, her need for validation, her craving for novelty, her hunger to feel desired again. And if she's not emotionally mature, she will seek this feeling from whoever offers it fastest, not whoever deserves her loyalty. That's why so many modern men get blindsided. Because you didn't cheat, you didn't break anything, you didn't betray anything. She simply followed the feeling of being wanted instead of honoring the commitment she made. And if that hits hard, it's supposed to. You need to know the truth so you can protect your emotional well-being, not just your relationship. Here's the part most men never hear, because society teaches you to ignore your instincts and blame yourself for everything. But listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you is the foundation of why modern women drift, detach, and eventually cheat. A woman doesn't wake up one morning and suddenly decide to betray you. No. She slowly rewires her emotional loyalty long before any physical action ever happens. And the moment her emotional loyalty shifts away from you, her conscience becomes quieter and her boundaries become weaker. This is the psychology men desperately need to understand. Modern women live in a world that constantly tells them two things: you deserve more, and your feelings are the truth. So when she feels bored, stressed, unappreciated, or restless, she doesn't ask whether those feelings come from her own unresolved patterns. She looks outward, she scans for a source of comfort. And if she finds emotional reassurance from another man, even in tiny doses, her brain begins forming a bond without her realizing it. That bond is the seed of cheating. And here's the part that stings. Today's environment rewards emotional wandering. Apps, messages, validation, attention, all available without effort. The brain loves novelty, especially when life feels routine. So when a woman hasn't learned emotional discipline, she mistakes stimulation for connection. She mistakes validation for love. She mistakes attention for intimacy. And once that process starts, she begins comparing you to someone who isn't even in the real relationship with her. He's giving her the highlight reel, you're living the real life with her. But she doesn't see the difference. Now let me be clear as your psychologist in this moment. A mature woman doesn't let external validation compromise her loyalty. A grounded woman knows how to communicate, not escape. A committed woman knows that emotional responsibility is part of a healthy relationship. But a woman who cheats emotionally or physically is avoiding her own inner work. She's chasing a feeling instead of building a partnership. She's choosing the path of least resistance. And if you've ever been made to feel like her emotional drift was your fault, I want you to release that weight right now. You cannot fix someone who refuses to examine her own patterns. You can only understand the psychology behind her actions. So you never blame yourself for someone else's internal emptiness. There's something I need you to truly understand. Because this is where most men get emotionally blindsided. When a modern woman starts drifting, she doesn't pull away loudly. She pulls away silently. She keeps the surface calm so you won't question anything, while inside she's already shifting her emotional center of gravity. And the reason this hurts so many men is simple. You're loyal by default, you love in a straight line. When you commit fully. But a woman who feels emotionally restless can begin building an escape route long before you even sense a problem. She'll start investing her emotional energy somewhere else, piece by piece. A message here, a conversation there, a moment of validation that lights her up in a way she hasn't felt in a while. And instead of confronting the discomfort inside herself, she tells her mind a story. I'm just talking. But emotionally, she's already crossing lines. Emotional cheating doesn't feel like cheating to her at first. Because she's not doing anything physical, she's just enjoying the attention. But that enjoyment becomes attachment, and once attachment forms, her loyalty to you begins to erode quietly. Then something dangerous happens in her psychology. She begins rewriting the relationship in her mind to justify her emotional drift. She focuses on what you didn't do, not on what she stopped communicating. She zooms in on your flaws and minimizes your strengths. She creates distance not because you changed, but because she needs to reduce the guilt she feels while getting emotionally fed somewhere else. And this is why so many men feel blindsided, because she's rewriting the story of the relationship internally while still acting normal externally. But here's the truth I need you to absorb. Her emotional shift is not evidence of your inadequacy, it's evidence of her instability. A loyal woman communicates. A mature woman expresses discomfort before it becomes resentment. A grounded woman doesn't seek emotional comfort outside the relationship. She builds it within the relationship. The woman who drifts didn't outgrow you. She abandoned her own emotional responsibility. And if you've ever been blamed for her distance, you must stop carrying guilt that was never yours. Emotional cheating doesn't start because you were not enough. It starts because she didn't know how to value what she had without chasing the thrill of temporary validation. Let's go deeper because this is the part where the mask finally starts to slip. Once a woman begins feeding off attention from outside her relationship, her behavior shifts in subtle but predictable ways. She'll become more secretive with her phone, more defensive when questioned, more emotionally distant when you try to connect. She'll tell you she's just tired or stressed. But that's only half the truth. What's really happening is psychological dissonance. She's trying to balance the image of a loyal partner with the thrill of emotional rebellion. And that split slowly eats away at her authenticity. When a woman cheats emotionally or physically, she starts compartmentalizing her life. She'll act warm when she needs reassurance, cold when she feels guilt, dismissive when you get too close. Her behavior becomes unpredictable because her mind is living two realities. One where she's still your partner, and another where she's chasing excitement, novelty, or validation from someone else. That confusion is exhausting for her, so she projects it onto you. Suddenly, you become the problem. You're too serious, too distant, too controlling. These accusations aren't reflections of you. They're her way of rationalizing her emotional betrayal. Now, here's what most men never realize. Modern culture subtly encourages this emotional duplicity. Social media normalizes attention seeking. Influences glorify self-centered independence, and phrases like "do what makes you happy" get twisted into emotional selfishness. So when a woman starts feeling restless, she convinces herself she's just finding her peace, when in truth she's running from accountability. She starts confusing freedom with disconnection, and that confusion is where infidelity grows. But let me speak to you man to man, or rather woman to man, as your psychologist right now. You can't love someone into emotional integrity. You can't give enough affection to fix their restlessness. You can't communicate enough to change a person who isn't honest with herself. Once a woman starts lying to herself, she'll inevitably lie to you. Not because you failed, but because she's protecting her illusion. So when you start noticing inconsistencies, believe them. Don't gaslight yourself into ignoring what's right in front of you. The most painful truth a man must accept is this: when a woman wants to cheat, she'll create the emotional distance that allows her to justify it. Recognizing that pattern doesn't make you cynical, it makes you awake. And if you've ever been blamed for her distance, you must stop carrying guilt that was never yours. Emotional cheating doesn't start because you were not enough. It starts because she didn't know how to value what she had without chasing the thrill of temporary validation. There's a moment in every man's life when he feels something shift, quietly, subtly, almost invisibly. It's that moment when the woman he loves stops looking at him with softness and starts looking through him as if he's no longer the center of her emotional world. And you tell yourself it's stress or work or hormones or just a bad week, but deep down, your intuition whispers a truth you don't want to face. She's getting emotionally fed somewhere else. And as a psychologist, I want you to understand what that does to a woman's mind, because once that emotional drift starts, her entire behavior begins to reorganize around it. When a woman begins seeking emotional connection from another man, her brain starts releasing dopamine from those interactions. The dopamine becomes a reward, and like any reward, the brain chases it. This is why she suddenly seems more protective of her phone, why messages are hidden, why she becomes irritated when you ask simple questions. It's not that she hates you, it's that she's defending the emotional high she's getting from someone else. And the more she defends it, the more distant she becomes from you. This is where the rationalizations begin. She'll convince herself she deserves to feel good, that nothing is really happening, that you've been distant too. Even if none of that is true, these aren't reflections of your behavior. They're her mind creating a narrative that allows her emotional betrayal to feel justified. And once she convinces herself she's not doing anything wrong, she stops feeling guilty. That's when the danger becomes real. A woman who no longer feels guilty is a woman who no longer has internal boundaries. And without boundaries, temptation becomes permission. The emotional connection she built outside the relationship becomes the bridge that leads to physical betrayal. It rarely happens randomly. It happens because the emotional groundwork was already laid long before anything physical ever occurred. But here's what I want you to hold on to. Her drifting does not mean you are unworthy. It means she lacked the emotional maturity to confront her own emptiness. Not every woman cheats, but the ones who do share a common trait. They chase feelings instead of building foundations. So if you've ever felt that subtle shift, don't ignore it. Your intuition isn't paranoia, it's protection. There comes a stage in a drifting woman's psychology where she begins rewriting her entire identity. And this is the phase most men never recognize until it's too late. She starts telling herself she's growing, changing, or evolving. But the truth is far simpler. She's emotionally separating from the version of herself who loved you. And instead of facing the discomfort of that truth, she builds a new narrative that frees her from accountability. This is why her attitude shifts from warmth to indifference, from connection to avoidance, from partnership to quiet resentment. None of this happens because you suddenly became unworthy. It happens because she's conditioning herself to detach. When a woman starts cheating emotionally or physically, she doesn't just betray you, she betrays her own values first. To ease that internal conflict, she needs a story where you become the problem. So she highlights every flaw, exaggerates every disagreement, and minimizes every moment of affection you ever gave. This psychological reframing helps her justify the attention she's giving elsewhere. It isn't logic, it's emotional self-protection. And because men are naturally solution-oriented, you respond by trying harder, giving more, fixing everything you think is broken. But she isn't looking for solutions, she's looking for distance. This is why you start feeling like nothing you do is enough. It's not that your effort changed, it's that her mind is already comparing your reality to someone else's fantasy. And fantasies always win because they require no responsibility. The man she's emotionally entertaining doesn't deal with bills, schedules, disagreements, or real life. He only offers novelty, validation, and excitement. You offer stability and commitment. But when a woman is intoxicated by emotional escapism, commitment feels heavy, stability feels dull, and reality feels restrictive. But here's what I need you to truly understand. Her drifting is not evidence of your inadequacy. It's evidence of her inability to manage her emotions with maturity. A woman grounded in self-awareness communicates. She doesn't hide, she doesn't run, she doesn't manipulate reality to protect her ego. Emotional honesty is a discipline, and not every woman has mastered it. Some choose the easy escape instead of the hard conversation. And you, as a man, must stop interpreting her emotional withdrawal as a reflection of your worth. Her choices reflect her character, not your value. You deserve a partner who chooses alignment over attention, integrity over impulse, and loyalty over validation. Now, I want you to hear this part with absolute clarity because this is where your power begins, not in controlling her choices, but in understanding what they reveal. When a modern woman cheats emotionally or physically, she exposes the truth about her emotional discipline, not the truth about your worth. Her betrayal doesn't define you, it defines her capacity for loyalty, honesty, and self-control. And once a woman crosses that line, something fundamental shifts inside her. She begins living in emotional fragmentation. She becomes one person with you, another person with him, and a third version of herself in her own mind. That split doesn't heal easily. And no matter how much she pretends to be free or starting fresh, she carries the weight of her own deception long after she's gone. But here's the part most men forget. You are not supposed to shrink yourself because someone else couldn't honor what they promised. You are not supposed to doubt your masculinity because someone else lacked emotional maturity. You are not supposed to question your value because someone else chose temporary validation over long-term connection. A woman's cheating is not a mirror of your inadequacy. It's a mirror of her impulsiveness, her unresolved wounds, and her inability to manage discomfort without running toward distraction. And if you're listening to this right now, feeling that ache in your chest, I want you to understand something deeper. You didn't lose her. She lost the version of you that trusted her. She lost the man who believed her words. She lost the relationship where loyalty could have grown into something real. Betrayal doesn't diminish the betrayed. It exposes the betrayer. Your healing begins when you stop asking, "Why wasn't I enough?" and start asking, "Why did she need so much validation from others to feel whole?" No loyal woman abandons a committed man for a momentary emotional thrill. No grounded woman risks her relationship for shallow attention. No mature woman trades stability for stimulation. If she cheated, it's because she wasn't ready for the depth you offered. So take a deep breath, lift your shoulders, reclaim your dignity. You are not defined by the loyalty someone else failed to give. You are defined by how you rise from what tried to break you. And if you want more clarity, strength, and psychological insight like this, hit the subscribe button. Give this video a like and stay connected. You deserve guidance that empowers you, not advice that blinds you. And you as a man must stop interpreting her emotional withdrawal as a reflection of your worth. Her choices reflect her character, not your value. You deserve a partner who chooses alignment over attention, integrity over impulse, and loyalty over validation.